Good afternoon on what is a cold, bright and sunny day. It is Thursday the 19th of January and I'm in the reading Nook with a nice cup of tea. And a package to unbox. Let's get to it. And what I've got in here is that. This is a book for Traveller, courtesy of my friend Neve. This is Starship Geomorphs for Traveller Science Fiction Adventure in the Far Future, and it's from Far Future Enterprises. Includes hundreds of detailed deck plan geomorphs for creating starships, space stations, starports or buildings. Tiles can be joined to create any desired size plan in a nearly endless range of configurations. Generously illustrated, this book is ideal for supplementing travel adventures, complementing starship encounters, or simply as inspiration for your own starship designs. So let's flip this open. This is what this book is. It's a book of sections which you can put together to create floor plans, deck plans, that sort of thing for your Traveller role-playing game, or it works with other science fiction games. So we open up. This is actually not an official Traveller adventure product, but it is for Traveller, despite coming from Far Future Enterprises. It is. And that's from Mark Miller, but the creator of Traveller. So we've got a nice illustration, sort of like, they're about to step onto the holodeck there. Very kind of Star Trek Next Generation, if you will. We have an explanation of what a geomorph is there, how that works. And then symbols and abbreviations and so on, with a couple of some classic kind of ships or small craft you'd expect. You've got explanations of what the symbols mean, and then you've got like that's a 50-ton modular launch, and then down below we have things like lifeboats, cargo shuttles, G-carriers, launches, shuttles, and so on, all there for easy use. And in some ways this book is a lot easier to use online than it is offline, because you can just take the PDFs and go through them and present them in more details. So here we have classic maps of deck plans of some ships which have been with Traveller for many years. So custom launches, you have and so on. You don't have the full stats for them, but you've got the deck plans and you can add them to your game with easy. Now, obviously with starships, you put it down on the table, the player's going, okay, where's my crew position, where's my stateroom, and so on. And in play, they tend to either be sort of used for boarding actions and things like that, or or repelling, or basically carrying out a boarding action, or you've got to go across the starship which is floating in space, having lost power or something. That sort of thing is something going on. So we have a detailed explanation of how to get up and down between decks. So add-on elevators, vertical movement, ladders. It's really kind of getting into the minutiae of sort of like starship details. I have an example geomorph layout of a ship. So this is just an example. You don't even have to use it. There's no real stats for it, and then you had to flesh out the ship with things like describing the overall ship's occupants, what's in this room, and so on. Almost, essentially, it's the equivalent of doing like filling out, what's in this castle, or what's in its rooms, or the dungeon in these rooms. Put a starship. Corridors. Here we go, corridors. And then we've got other uses, spaceship station layout. That's the other one where you're going to do it as like a cube or a classic ring format, massive structures. And then it doesn't have to be, in space. It can be on the ground as well. Like this is almost like a kind of landing pad or some object, or essentially, or this is almost like a corp tech facility. So you could take this also with some of the elements in here and use it for your Cyberpunk games as well, Shadowrun or Cyberpunk Red. So we have section 1, standard geomorphs. So multi-purpose locations, cargo bays. You've got a research deck, and again, you don't have to do that. Use that as a research deck. That research deck can actually be a research facility on planet engineering and center ops, flight hangar, crew area, and then you've got an illustration of a fighter hangar with launch tubes. So robotics labs, barracks, brigs, prison. Arboretums, lower and upper. So in some ways, I think this book has a wider application in science fiction gaming in general, because a lot of cases, you have a arboretum or an upper and lower. You don't normally find those on starships. So, but in Traveller, because they take up a lot of space. Traveller starships tend to be a bit more economical with their space by their design. There's a very technical in there, but there's no reason why you can't have them on board a big liner or something, or someone's fantastic own personal ship. We've got hangar, lower and upper, battery decks, multi-purpose deck locations, hydroponics bays and agricultural bays, complete with an illustration. I do like the fact that they're illustrated as well. That helps to bring the book alive, and in some ways that's where this book scores. It's bringing that content to alive. And I mean, I was looking at the Star Trek role-playing game from FASA, which made use of deck plans and also miniatures, almost with its action point combat system. You kind of needed the little counters and so on, and this will be perfect for these. So, even down to we have an illustration of a cargo bay, and then maps, and then somebody sort of like worrying there. There's basically some kind of strange bug there. And we've got launch bays, fuel refineries, lots of multi-purpose locations, and they're all named and not necessarily described. Aircraft hangar and ship's locker. Scrap and recycling locations, a ship's cradle for when it lands, or base in docks, and so on. Command centre, crew quarters. So engineering and fighter sections. Fighter hangar, starship hangar. So you could have sort of like, that would be on your space station where you could, the starship could dock, fuel decks and crew quarters. I mean, that's kind of like really plain and dull and boring, but I mean, if it's part of the ship, your player characters might have to work their way through it. Corridors and windows and what they might see. So quite what's going on in there, somebody's in peril, they're rushing to his aid, they can't get the door open. Drop capsule and troop decks, for example, for if you're running a mercenary campaign. Engineering crew quarters, and then we've got crew lounge and galley. Another fighter hangar. I wish they were kind of grouped together, but Another arboretum, multi-purpose, and then engineering co. Yeah. Escape pods. Always important to know where the escape pods are. Especially you've got to get a message to the Rebel Alliance. That's the other role-playing game. This could be useful. The role-playing game this could be useful, of course, Star Wars. Then we have perimeter airlocks. Lots of multi-purpose and engineering sections, all different. Elevator core, multi-purpose. So elevator core easily, really big starship or space station or building and so on, or like one of the grav cities, essentially big floating cities that Traveller has. Low berth. So you always wonder what they actually look like, but here you go. Passenger decks, scout, and then a scout and survey section. So there's a huge amount in here to look at. I could just keep going and keep going. Like we've got a promenade area with retail, again, great for your space station. A security checkpoint. Drop capsule bay pod. Pity wasn't actually put back alongside the deck plans of that. And then we have hydroponics and carniculture. Nice mix of the two. So you've got flora and fauna for developing your food, manufacturing bay, medical isolation. And then in the corner here we've got the X-boat. Repair decks. X-boats, basically essentially the long range high jump captured starships which deliver messages. Office space. So there isn't a lot of organisation in terms of what's sort of in here. Thematically it's just a section of geomorphs. Then we get onto edge geomorphs. I'm not going to show you all of these. So we've got bridge, and then we've got docking section for the X-boats, communications and so on, and then an image of the bridge. It looks very sort of very much like the Nostromo to a certain extent. Office space, engineering, waste disposal. And they've just got more and more of this. As I say, I'm not going to go through all of it. Another image of the fighter hangar. But there's a lot of it. You've got several hundred pages of locations, corridor maintenance. But barbettes. So you can get as far as basically turrets. Barbettes and the dorsal ventral weapons with illustrations. So you've got sort of like you actually get details of the kind of weapons that including bay weapons which you typically have in Traveller. Corner geomorphs. Fighter hangars, just in the corners there, repair stations and so on. Huge amount to show you in this book, and I'm not going to, so not going to go through it again. I could sort of go through it all the way, but there's a lot. So yeah, that is Starship Geomorphs. It's a fantastic book. If you love Starship or space station or location, deck plans and floor plans, this is the book for you. Not an official product, but it is for Traveller, and it does carry. It's done in the classic black, red, and white a style of traveller books of old, published by Far Future Enterprises, and thankfully lent to me by Neve to do an unboxing of. Thank you very much. So, if you've enjoyed this unboxing of the Nook, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any constant feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings of the Nook, where you'll see me out here with nice box, from which I will unbox a book or game and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge, all of course accompanied by that cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching another unboxing of the Nook. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.